Over here, we are live in Novi, Michigan at the Realcomp 2022 Tools of the Trade Realtor Expo. All the tools necessary for real estate realtors. So brokers, people who sell real estate. So it looks like we got title companies, management companies, financial services, computer solutions, maybe some constructions. So have a quick look. So this is a conference and convention. Actually, God forbid, there's very strong weather in Michigan, so there's power outages. It took me forever to get here because the power outages outside. So thank God, sponsored conference. Got food, and there's classes, educational classes, inspirational to informative, how-to. So we got management services, title group, picture plans. You can see companies that would help make brochure, booklets, property management, insurance. Got some activities like miniature golf, real estate services like inspections, waterproofing. Is this Michigan Housing Development Authority, state organizations, internet companies that offer information services from banks, loans, title companies. Let me go around and select the reading materials. I thought I'd pop a quick screen. It's important. A lot of problems here in economically facing America and the environment. Real estate prices are up quite a bit, so rental prices and ownership prices are up quite a bit. Real estate, obviously, anyone who follows my channel knows, civil engineer, active in real estate for years now, and so I figured I'd come to a convention to see kind of what's here. I'm not a realtor, like I'm in civil engineering, property management, and so this is more designed for realtors, but it has a lot of the peripheral, not really too much construction related, but the peripheral services to real estate, mostly financial and management. So let me try to give a few quick thoughts on just the state of Michigan real estate. So I'd mentioned at the homeowners show that I was considering with partners. Are you sure about going in to purchase a condominium, and process of getting the loan, whatever the financing, purchasing the building, having it up to code, move in, the construction, finishing work, to the management, then the legal services, getting the title, the completion of ownership, the rentals, all these various things. So inspections, government, bureaucratic paperwork, stuff that you have to fill out for legal purposes in order to complete the deal, and then just sales, pure sales. So I mean, if you're a realtor, it's basically a form of sales, but what you're selling is real estate, and whether that's the rental market or the sales that so most of the people here are involved in the sales, and they simply want to sell or rent real estate and make their commission. Real estate brokers can make as much as 6%. A lot of times the firm will take like 3%. But so if you sell $1 million property, you could make as much as a $60,000 commission. Mortgage brokering is also similar, where there's a reasonably, it's just a few percent, but because it's a large financial transaction, where obviously even cheap houses, even in Detroit, like houses thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. So a few percent on $1,000 house would just be tens of dollars, but there's only a handful of those things in Detroit, and you don't get those through a broker usually. Through like the Land Bank Authority or auctions. So it'd be unlikely you would be able to get a house for less than tens of thousands of dollars, even in rural places, in areas in Detroit that aren't that are relatively low price, would still be at least tens of thousands of dollars. And so you're talking a commission of a few $100s, and your average home goes for hundreds of thousands of dollars here in the suburb in this area, in the high hundreds of thousands of dollars. So realtor commission, you're looking at a few $1,000s, and so it's a good profession. You don't need a lot of education to be a realtor. In fact, you need a license. I'm not even sure you need a high school diploma or proof of a high school diploma or equivalents. All you need is they got axe throwing activities here too. So all you need is the license. So you have to take the training, take a test. There's usually a mandatory minimum of in-classroom lectures that will tell you the fundamentals of the transaction, what it means to be a homeowner, what it means to be a broker, and then a test. And I think even over a month period, all the classes you can take in like 20 days, and then take the test. It's not the simplest test. People fail it. I think you need like 70% or something, similar to like a Series 7 or something for like a stockbroker, also mortgage broker, insurance broker, all these things in the U.S. where they're licensed. You have to go through a period of mandatory in-class training, and then take a test. And then there's regulations, like you have to have your license parked at a brokerage firm. So it's hard to be like an individual broker. You need so whatever the regulation is, but it's very common. It's not that complicated for an average person with an entrepreneurial mindset to become a real estate broker, specifically ready for this, the Realtors Convention, but, for anything like a insurance broker, mortgage broker, so, things like selling life insurance or medical insurance is also a very common profession, but, real estate is more high-end financially, so the profit that you could make from a real estate transaction is substantially higher. And then, some are saying it's sales, and it's two-ended. So you need owners that are going to recruit you to sell their property, that are going to use your services to sell the property on their behalf. And then you also need customers who are looking for property. So in the rental market or apartments, so also like there's condominium complexes. Michigan's pretty suburban, especially these areas, but it's probably still like 20-30% of units are condominiums or apartments. So that the price range, where if a home in this area might even cost like $300,000-$400,000 on average, there might be condominiums in the area that would go for $100,000-$200,000 depending on the size. And so if you get a job with a major brokerage firm, they have a lot of clients, and there's levels of entry where you hook the person in, and then refer them to the company to close the deal. You just show the property. Versus if you have your own clientele base. And then there's the technicals. So besides with the sales aspect, in order to finalize the deal, there's a lot of paperwork the person has to pay. The money has to be there. Most of the time, people will take out a loan or a mortgage. Probably less than 10% of real estate purchases would be where a person would pay straight out full price without taking out a mortgage. So the paperwork related to a real estate transaction, you need the title transfer, the legal requirements. You need the financial closure of the deal. So if the previous owner has a loan, hasn't fully paid off the property, which is probably pretty common, even the majority, over 50%, maybe even higher, of real estate transactions, the person will have outstanding loan on the property. So the money, you have to secure a loan. Typical, maybe you have to give 20% down, depending on your credit or financial history. So you have to give 20% down, secure a mortgage for the rest of the payment, and then as you make the payment to the previous owner, that will usually pay in completion the rest of the mortgage that they owe on their property. And then added to that, the rest of the money will go to the previous owner, and you have taxes, and then you have the title transfer, where the registration of deeds with the legal entity that controls it. Has to be a title, has to be registered with the government, and so all these things have to be usually mastered by the broker. So, it's the obligation of the home buyer, but usually the broker, the realtor, has to do all these things. So that's why you have here, a lot of title companies, a lot of banks, mortgage companies, because a lot of times the realtor will refer the person won't necessarily have their own mortgage broker and or title company. It'll be the realtor that will refer the customer to those services. And this is, for commercial, it could be more complicated. You could have more government regulation on the use permit. And, I did building permits in New York. And, to purchase a property, do the construction, to getting it legally ready for commercial use, might have boxes and boxes of paperwork. So even just a homeowner, a single homeowner, you might have a folder, even a large legal folder of contracts and paperwork related to your home ownership. And if it's a commercial property, you might have a whole filing cabinet of paperwork related to your real estate ownership. So there's also law firms, legal firms that specialize in real estate. And so, if you have a building and your rental units, you're going to have an individual contract with every single one of your renters. You're going to have your ownership property, your management companies, all the various construction tests that you've used, maybe things like lawn services, utilities, electricity, gas, whatever government requirements are required. So it said you would have a whole filing cabinet of paperwork, and you might be able to outsource all of that. So things like Donald Trump or something like that generally probably outsourced almost all the paperwork. He had other people that did all that stuff for him, and more a people's person dealing with people, versus other people are more paperwork, numbers oriented, where you could have largely people that just deal with spreadsheets and numbers or contracts, and not people. First, so this isn't homeowners or real estate for real estate owners. It's for realtors, and the stuff specific to realtors. So I just thought I'd pop in a quick screen, come by, collect some paperwork, see what type of stuff they have up here in terms of title companies. They say it's a convention, so that it looks like they try to have some fun activities like miniature golf and axe throwing. There's food, and there'll be speakers in this room. Right now there's classes upstairs. So I'm going to end it here. Thanks for tuning in. The exciting world of real estate in Michigan, extremely important. In our capitalist economy, the regular flow of property ownership. That people move constantly. People move locations. You have the free flow of people from state to state, and there has to be a smooth flow of transaction, also financial. That in America, people take higher, lower birth, and make or lose money, so that they would have to either have more resources available to them and purchase better property, or lose resources where they couldn't afford their previous property and have to sell it and downgrade, move to rental or cheaper property. Plus entrepreneurials, because obviously being a landlord is in America the single best path to wealth. About 50% of millionaires in America are landlords, and so if you are entrepreneurial, there's many sources of being an entrepreneur and financial success. But in America, the single greatest success comes from real estate ownership, becoming a landlord, owning property and renting it out. So with that, blessings. Take care. And next week is the Silicon Conference. So that one should be exciting. It's downtown. It's an international conference that moves around each year. And it should be a lot of vendors from all over the world. It won't be like the Automate conference. They have like cool robotics on display. But silicon is extremely important in the world economy. The microchip shortage, the various things that silicon come into. It's sponsored by Dow Chemical, which I believe is headquartered here in Michigan. And so that should be exciting. I'll probably stream there. And then the week after is in this same convention center in Novi, the foam conference, which I've been doing for multiple years now. And foam, specifically to automotive, as a lighter weight material. I'm not sure if foam, a lot of foam is oil based. It's an oil derivative, so it's possible foam is affected by the oil prices, but the foam, especially in automotive manufacture, if various parts of the car could be replaced with foam, it's a lighter weight material and will require less fuel and lower emissions, which the last few years have been because of environmental concerns and regulations on the environment. Now it could just be in terms of oil prices. So that's in 2 weeks, the foam show. Next week is the silicon show. So I'm going to go table to table, collect some reading material, see what's out here, and signing off. God bless.